everyone. My name is Rafaela Lopez, and my presentation is on The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. I posted a picture of her and some of her pictures that she has written. A little bit about Sandra. I actually got all her information off her website. She actually is pretty cool because she writes back to people that write on to her on her page. She was born in Chicago in 1954. She was one of 7 and the only girl in her family. Got her BA in English at Loyola University of Chicago. Her MFA Creative Writing at the University of Iowa. Her work history. She used to be a teacher and counselor to high school dropouts. Taught creative writing all levels except preschool and first grade. College recruiter, art administrator, author of 10 books. Founder of Macondo Foundation and Alfredo Cisneros del Moral Foundation and Latino MacArthur Fellows. So, summary of this book is starts off with this young girl named Esperanza. She is Mexican American. She is in her early teens. Oh my gosh. Hold on. She is transitioning from a young girl into a young lady in her book. She has 2 brothers and a sister. Her family moved to this house on Mango Street. Even though Esperanza wasn't pleased with her new home, it is not like the one that she envisioned, a big white house with lots of space and bathrooms. Instead, they moved into a smaller place with 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. Esperanza looked at the bright side, which they actually owned the house and didn't have to worry about landlord or broken pipes. Is one of the reasons why they moved to this house was because the owner of the last house apartment wouldn't fix the pipes, so her parents decided just to move and buy a house. In this story, Esperanza feels ashamed of where they live and hopes one day she lives in her dream house, which is a big white house up in the hills. Esperanza gives a lot of detail of her neighborhood. She gets to know her neighbors and becomes friends with Lucy and Rachel. You will see that in the beginning of the story of her journey into this new neighborhood, she'll talk about a lot of her these kids around school, her neighbors. Lucy and Rachel become friends with her. It's actually a pretty funny story because the only reason why they became friends was because Esperanza, Lucy and Rachel bought a bike together, all 3 of them. Rachel and Lucy told her that if Esperanza gave them $5 to buy, so they can buy the bike, that they can become friends. Esperanza only had 1 friend before she became friends with Lucy and Rachel, so she kind of said, well, yeah, why not? I'll get 2 friends instead of just having 1 friend, and she gets a bike. So that's how those 3 became friends, and Lucy and Rachel are kind of, like a closer, they actually become close friends. Throughout the story, Esperanza is still a little kid physically and mentally. You can tell in the story that she didn't like the attention from any boys, or anything like that. So she was really young. I believe I want to say 12 to 13, just because like riding the bikes and all that stuff kind of seemed younger. And then later on in the book, it goes from knowing her neighbors, which are the older women neighbors, like how they live, their husbands, like how their husbands are, treating their wives. And it plays a major role in her that she, doesn't want to end up like that. And then Esperanza gets her first job. One of her aunts got her a job at a photo place. So as I mentioned that she, this book, it goes from, this Esperanza, little girl, didn't like her new house, meeting her new neighbors, making friends. Her aunt got her a job, even though she had to lie about her age, she still got a job. And then she met Sally. Sally was the same age as Esperanza, so but the difference between Esperanza and Sally was that Sally was more sexual experienced. Sally was also being abused by her father. Her father would hit her a lot. Her sisters ran away from home, so her father didn't want her to do the same. So he tried to keep her locked inside their house to keep her from leaving their house. But Esperanza was intrigued of Sally's actions, and she wanted to get to know Sally a little bit more, and because at this time, Esperanza started to see all the attention that Sally was getting from the boys, and she kind of was like, oh, like I want to get that attention too. So she started to hang out with Sally. Sally, unfortunately, leaves Esperanza with these boys alone, and they rape Esperanza while Sally was gone. And that's their, obviously their friendship ends. Sally gets married, and which wasn't, didn't surprise Esperanza. When Esperanza got raped, there wasn't much to say except that she was upset at Sally for leaving her alone, for her not coming back when she said she was. I believe that with seeing all the women in her neighborhood, suffering from either these men controlling their lives, not being able to go anywhere or do anything for, as normal people do, like go out instead of, being out, instead of being inside, stuck at home because these husbands are really jealous or, can't do much. Esperanza didn't want to end up like the woman in Mango Street, not happy, stuck at home, or even with kids, living back, being divorced with kids, back at home. She didn't want that. She did not want that kind of life. And she felt like if she stayed in Mango Street, she would end up like them. And now when she got raped, it was another motivation for her to not want to stay. At the end, she says that she does want to come back to help out all the women that she did leave behind because, she would want to make a difference for them. I really liked this book. It had short stories in them. I feel like, this Esperanza girl, just like when you move in a new neighborhood, you like to know your neighbors, you like to, explore your new neighborhood. And I like how she goes into, detail and meets all these people around her. And she does a really good detail on explaining the settings and stuff. Um, in the book, there's a little novel. There's another short story, The Family of Little Feet. Esperanza describes this family of little feet that live in her neighborhood. The wife gave Esperanza and her friends, which are Rachel and Lucy, these old heels. One was red, one was, they used to be white, but then they were blue, and then the yellow heels. Esperanza and her friends make this experience admitted into a game, which was a fairy tale. And, they pretended it was like Cinderella because, the shoes fit them, and, they became different people. They felt more sexier in them, and they felt older. So, they were, walking around, the little neighborhood, and they definitely got the wrong attention. The girls were learning how to walk in heels. They were getting the attention from the men from the neighborhood. One of the store owners, he was like, you girls are a little too young to be wearing those heels. People might be getting the wrong impression. It's not a good neighborhood, especially, men in that area, have wrong minds. So that was basically what he was saying. For example, a homeless man tried to convince Rachel to give him a kiss for $1, because he was complimenting her how pretty she looked. And, this little girl liked it. She liked getting the attention. And in the book, she was like tempted to almost kiss him for the $1. So, you can see it by that, those heels were not a good idea for them. Even though they started off as a Cinderella, which, it's supposed to be, which, it's a kid's story and it's like a fairy tale and a princess, and definitely did not get that. And then I think after that, they decided not to wear those heels. And And Rachel and Lucy's mother threw those shoes away, because she saw them as old shoes. Why would, who would ever wear them? So she threw them away. Lucy and Rachel and Esperanza obviously did not mind of that because, they're like, no, we're not ever going to wear those anymore. Especially because after that, the homeless guy tried to kiss them. And then here is the characters. Esperanza, Carlos and Kiki are Esperanza's brothers. Neni is her younger sister. Lucy and Rachel are her friends. Sally is the girl. She lives in the same area. Themes: learning about identity as Chicana or Mexican American. Learning about identity as a woman. Learning about self. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I actually found everything about Sandra on her own page. And I used the book. Thank you.